We are concerned about other actors, particularly Iran, looking for a way to widen this conflict beyond Israel. To other actors who want to take advantage of this conflict, don't. We are the most lethal fighting force the world has seen.
Sabrina Singh, Pentagon, with Dana and me yesterday. She's talking about Iran here. We'll just show you on the map behind us the level of concern there is on behalf of this administration. This is where most of the action is in Gaza, right? But this is Iran and Tehran way to the east. You see all those red dots on the map behind me there? In the last week, 14 strikes against U.S. bases from overseas. You have 2 here in Syria. You have 3 others here in Iraq. Now, when you think about Iran and the message this administration is trying to send to Tehran, look at the firepower that is rolling into the seas here around the region. Talked a lot about the Gerald Ford here with the strike group in the Eastern Med. Well, you got the Whitney as well. And down here in the Red Sea, you've got the Carney that was involved in knocking 4 cruise missiles out of the air the other day that were fired from Yemen. Yemen is down here to the south, just below Saudi Arabia, where you've got the Carter Hall and the USS Bataan. This is the Gulf of Aden, all right? You might remember October of 2000. It was in the Gulf of Aden when the USS Cole was blown up, the southern edge here of Yemen. Persian Gulf now, not there yet, but the Dwight Eisenhower carrier strike route is en route, and it will come into the Persian Gulf, very similar to the Gerald Ford. So what does that say, right? You look at that map and you think, well, where is Iran? And now the message, well, here's Iran, and the message is clear that the U.S. government is saying, hold your fire. We heard that repeatedly yesterday. 3 different administration officials said the exact same thing, all right? Those are their talking points, their message to Iran leadership now. Why is Iran such a menace for Israel? These are the routes that we believe are generally used out of Iran, all right? Pretty easy route to smuggle missiles, rockets, armaments across the northern edge of Iraq, across Syria, north of Beirut. Another easy route, too, here through Iraq and central Syria as well. So the West Bank, you're going to hear about this in some of our reporting with Mike Tobin and Trey Yingst. This is what we believe from the Institute for National Security Studies, that the West Bank now, on the eastern edge here of Israel, you get the supply routes coming into Damascus, and they trickle down here to the west side of Amman, the capital city of Jordan. That's what we believe the best routes for the Iranians to cause havoc throughout the area. Dana just mentioned this. In Beirut, Lebanon, that's where the meeting took place yesterday among those leaders. Republican Congressman Michael Waltz out of Florida, served in the Middle East, and he's back with us today. And, sir, thank you for your time. I mentioned the administration leaders. Here's Anthony Blinken, just yesterday now, after repeated questions as to what you're doing with Iran and what message you're sending them. Finally, on record, here it is at the UN.
And let me say what we've consistently said to Iranian officials through other channels. The United States does not seek conflict with Iran. We do not want this war to widen. But if Iran or its proxies attack U.S. personnel anywhere, make no mistake, we will defend our people, we will defend our security swiftly and decisively.
At some point, you probably could deliver that with more gusto, but there it is anyway, sir.
Yeah, Bill, I mean, he's promising, essentially assuring Iran that we're going to defend ourselves really tough and aggressively. How about we start talking about consequences, real consequences, shutting down their flow of oil that is now at a 5-year high, getting after some of the other money that they're going after on the international market. One of the metrics that I watched closely under President Trump's administration was that all of the proxies were all complaining that they weren't getting enough funds from Tehran. And then you add that, Bill, to the mixed messaging, the equivocating in the first few days after October 7th, whether Iran was directly involved. Just a few weeks ago, the administration came before the House Foreign Affairs Committee and argued to remove Iran's proxies from the authorization and use of military force. And then the 14 times that our bases have been hit in just the last few weeks is on top of 70 to 80 times in the last 2 years. And there have been zero consequences for it. And to the extent that there is, it's only against the proxies. not against Iran itself. And that was the paradigm shift under President Trump and Mike Pompeo. They imposed consequences on Iran by taking out their most effective field general, Soleimani, and deterrence was restored. So we can have all of these big, movements of forces, but if our adversaries don't believe we have the political will to use them to impose real costs, then it's going to be for naught.
This also comes into play in regards to the fighting on the ground, whether there should be a ceasefire or not. I don't know if this is mixed messaging or like both messaging. Listen here.
We don't believe that a ceasefire right now we would believe that a ceasefire right now is only going to benefit Hamas.
We all agree on the vital need to protect civilians. Palestinian civilians must be protected. That means Hamas must cease using them as human shields. It means humanitarian pauses must be considered for these purposes.
What do you understand the policy to be?
Well, and then, Dana, that's on top of the mixed messaging of the President of the United States standing in Israel next to their prime minister, lecturing them about human rights and kind of wagging their finger. You make sure you abide by the laws of warfare. There is an absolute distinct difference between targeting civilians and collateral damage of civilians, and of course pointing out the human shields. And we're not making that distinction. I think these signals are playing right into Hamas's hands and into Iran's hands that we won't have the staying power when the going gets really tough in Gaza.
Congressman,
look,
can I ask you one last question, though, because we're
Sure.
running out of time, though? I want to ask you about the president's request for aid for both Israel and Ukraine, and how you don't have a speaker yet. Maybe that gets solved today. How does it look in terms of the congressional vote for that money?
Well, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about Speaker Dana. And on this $106 billion supplemental, we need to be talking about the policy. Washington is terrible about just throwing more money at an issue. What does success look like in Ukraine? What are the objectives? Is it full expulsion, 2014 line Crimea? What is it? On the border, if you just throw money at processing more people, it's only going to attract more people. We have to deter the migrants. And then we have an Iran problem when it comes to Israel. Where's that reversal on Iran before, again, we just rubber stamp a huge amount of money, which could be, and I would argue probably is, throwing a lot of good money after bad policy.
Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.